of the Psychic News Network. Happy Dia de Muertes. I can't speak Spanish. But anyway, thank you for being here. We're at a pivotal time in all of our histories. Every single one of us is involved. Every single American citizen has a stake in this election. Thank you, Cheryl. So we've been here for over 4 years. I've been here for over 4 years. We are down to the final stretch, the final yard line. Failure is not an option. We cannot consider failure an option. We have to, thank you for the compliments. I just threw this mask on the last minute. It's probably going to come off because I'll need to put glasses on. Failure is not an option. We cannot consider, we cannot, there's a book that Warren sent me a copy, because I had lost it in my travels. There's a book called, with this title, You Cannot Afford the Luxury of a Negative Thought. Okay? I really, 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 really want everyone to agree tonight while we're together to adhere to, we cannot afford the luxury of a negative thought, because our thoughts are powerful. I had a discussion about this with Irish Granny Tara, who's probably out there watching, so hello. We did a show today, and it turned into a conversation. It was pretty much a whole, yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. I didn't watch it. I will watch it later just to see, you know, it was very serious. It was a very serious conversation. I'm usually joking around, you know, and I still have a jovial spirit in the face of all that we're in. Yes, Electra Storm, you have it right. Visualize Kamala in the White House. I'm of the belief that we create miracles through our thoughts. I mean, if you grew up religious at all, if you grew up religious at all, you know that, you know, or you hear it all the time, even if you weren't brought up religious, pray. Pray, visualize, intend. Oh, good. I'm glad you enjoyed the conversation, because I haven't watched it, and I was like, gee, I was a little more serious than usual. But it's okay. Also, yes, it's. Do we have any Spanish-speaking people out there? Dias la Muertes, right? Today and tomorrow? It's the Day of the Dead. The veils are still very thin. This weekend is the most important weekend of your life. So what I would like for people to Day of the Dead. What I would like for people to commit to and put in the chat is what you're doing over the weekend to help to save democracy. I want you all to just think about it right now. Just reflect on it. Please pray for Cheryl's mother-in-law. Okay, we will. We'll put that in with our group hug. I was listening earlier to Scaramucci. And he inspired me. He motivated me. He was talking to Ben Meisalas, Scaramucci was. And he's talking about that he's going to the people who have Trump flags flying, just knocking on their door and convincing them, and he said he's convinced some of them to not vote for Trump. I've mentioned this before, I've seen homes that have been flying the Trump flag, and I've taken note of the number of their house, and I've sent them a letter just addressed to resident. Very kind, very caring. I'm a neighbor, I don't live on your street, but I'm a neighbor, and I just want you to understand what Trump stands for. So definitely, I want you all to just let me know what you're committing to for this weekend in terms of saving our democracy. We have tomorrow, Sunday, and Monday. And Tuesday, you know, for people that vote on voting day, which seems to be less and less of that now. Okay? I'm waiting. I'm gonna be reading the chat. I'm gonna be reading what you're going to do this weekend to convince people to not vote for Trump. And I want to also mention here, I've pretty much ended grassroots of democracy because I had done enough. Prayers and meditation. I also want to see, because that's a given. I want to see what people are doing. Are you making phone calls? Are you knocking on doors? Yeah, like, thank you, Annie. Hey, Annie, how's it going? She'll be making phone calls, okay? And the more that you put up about your action steps that you're taking over the weekend, the more other people are going to be inspired, okay? So that's why we're going to do that tonight. I've got my floral Day of the Dead. We'll be flying away from this madness before long. As long as we get involved. Making phone calls. Gloria's making phone calls for Kamala. Okay, making calls. All right, I'm going to give you a bell. You get a bell. You get a bell if you are being proactive. I may knock on doors. I may do that. And I just want to remind you, we'll get into the cards in a second, that back in February, when Biden was on the ticket, and you all remember this if you've been with me, I went straight into the jungle of a bunch of people that were waving Trump flags outside of a Biden rally event. And I was able to talk to them like their fellow citizens. These people that are voting for Trump are misled. They're not the enemies, they are misled. They're fellow Americans. So that's just what I have for you in terms of inspiring you to do something. And Gloria's saying, yes, I did. I was brave. And I just want to kind of counter that with, I want to understand within my own heart that it doesn't, we don't have to be like we're going into battle, right? If we're going to talk to somebody who's a fellow American who's a Trumpster, just, you know, keep this in mind too. We don't have to perceive it as if we're going into battle, like an actual battle. We can perceive it as that we're going into having a conversation. Okay, the mask is getting warm. It's very unseasonably warm in Massachusetts. Global climate change is real because it's been about 70, 80 degrees here. Very, very windy. And it's not normal. It's lovely, but it's not normal. Yeah, neighbors aren't enemies, right? Let's remember that these are our brothers and sisters sharing this country together, sharing our democracy. And the beautiful thing, why are you saying, oh my God, Annette? That it's this warm? 85 on Halloween, yeah. It's lovely, but it's not right. It's scary. And remember, Kamala Harris says that too. Kamala Harris says that we can have a discussion. We can have a discussion. Yeah, Maria's saying it's warm for November in Chicago. Okay, so, I mean, like, I'm kind of sweating a little bit. It's like, do you remember the days that you had to wear, if you were in the north, any, part of the north, part of the country, on Halloween you had to put your jacket on because it was always really, really cold? Let's remember that. Please hit the thumbs up and please subscribe if you're not subscribed already. There's nothing that happens to you when you subscribe. To my members out there, I want to thank you profusely for being a member. You know that I'm going through some changes of, I don't have a helper anymore. You're supposed to get an affirmation every day, and I apologize, you didn't get one today, but I will make up for it. Suddenly it's November. Okay. The first thing I want to look at is, well, first off, I think that Trump is, his brain has been reduced to mush. And when I tune in, I feel like that there's nobody home. There's nobody in there. And what he said about what he wants to do, see, he has no filter. He's barely ever had a filter, but he really has no filter now. His brain is turned to mush. What he said about what should happen to Liz Cheney. Okay, so, did you all catch it? Highly disturbing. Remember when somebody threatened Judge Chutkin's life? I believe she's in prison right now. Hey, Amanda. Amanda and I were talking about doing a St. Padre Pio novena. If anybody wants in on that, let me know. What he said about Liz Cheney is what he really would, and what he really would intend to do. And anybody else would have been arrested. Who was he talking to? Was it Tucker Carlson? Very, very disturbing. He wanted to unalive Liz Cheney. Yes. And he went into great detail in his description. Oh, yeah, Maria's saying, I wonder if Dick Cheney will go after the loser. There is no doubt about it. Michelle would like to. Send me an email, AnnetteDion7@gmail.com. Just put Padre Pio in the subject line. That's all you have to do. We're going to do a novena to Padre Pio. We did that before the election in 2020. We prayed a lot. Trump is messing with the wrong family. He really is. If anybody wants to know what I'm talking about with Padre Pio is a Catholic saint. He had the stigmata, which were the wounds of Christ, so that just, in the Catholic faith, it means he was very, very, very close to Christ. And he performed a lot of miracles, because you have to perform miracles. We're kind of on All Saints Day, right? I always get those confused. So a novena is a 9-day prayer vigil. And I know there's less than 9 days to the election, but I don't think that they're going to be able to call the election. By next week at this time, we'll have the results. No, I didn't see the horrible float in the kids parade. Oh, maybe I did. You must be talking about a Trump float. So, what we're doing right now is we're at the stage where we're going to pound the pavement. Yes, we're going to do what we can. We're going to do all that. Yeah, All Saints Day. But we're also going to do the energy work. Dick Cheney knows people that can make other people disappear. That's interesting. I'm actually going to pull cards on that. And by the way, we'll get into it momentarily, but I had so much fun in Salem last night. I'll show you some video clips. But I'm so glad that I went, and it's a big crowd, and it's a hop and a skip from where I live, so it's not a problem to get there. But I usually kind of avoided it. But I was really inspired by the unity and the people being playful and fun and dancing in the streets and the witches circle, which I'll talk about in a little bit. and people had the greatest costumes. And if you've ever seen the movie Hocus Pocus, when I first saw the movie Hocus Pocus, which was just last year, I finally saw the movie Hocus Pocus, and I was watching the movie and I was like, because Salem, you know, they have the whole month of October is Halloween, right? So when I was watching Hocus Pocus, I was like, it's exactly what it looks like in Salem on Halloween. And I do have I'll just show you this for right now, and then I'll show you a little bit more as we move on. But there was a house that totally looked like the house in Hocus Pocus. Let me show it to you. Doesn't that totally look like the house in Hocus Pocus? Those are real trick-or-treaters. Pretty funny. So, remember I told you to go have fun for Halloween because it was going to lift your energy? It really did. And one thing that I really gathered from my experience being in all those people, I met a lot of people. I did like little mini readings for people as a marketing thing. I'm going to say this before I start pulling cards about the loser. Which I did see one person dressed like Trump. I just saw him from the back on the train coming back. And I was like, oh, he went by too fast. But I saw a guy dressed like Trump with a thing over his ear. And from the back, he looked just really perfect. I really do feel that in the midst of all the hatred, the love is becoming stronger. I really am picking that up. It was peaceful. There were tens of thousands of people in Salem. I don't have the exact numbers. But it was an awesome celebration. There were bands, there was cider and cider donuts, and of course people were in the bars, great costumes. And I'll talk about the witches' circle in a little bit. Yeah, there are actually some people dressed like the three, is it the Sanderson sisters? I didn't get to see the house that they decorated to be like the movie. The spooky house. I'm pulling 3 cards about Cheney. Oh, come up for Halloween next year for sure. I mean, people come from all over. I did a few complimentary readings, and most of the people were from the South. I met some nice people. As far as the Cheneys go, they're going to end Trump's campaign. They're going to end it. The Sanderson sisters, right? They're going to end it. I don't know how. Because this is a 6 of Cups. Because of what Liz Cheney has on Trump, which is why he's so threatened. Which is why he wants to off her. That's why he's threatening to... I can't even say the word on YouTube. And he's out there blabbering it all over international, you know, in front of the whole wide world. It's really bad. The Sanderson sisters they're the main characters in Hocus Pocus. So what I'm asking about is the Cheney's response to what Trump said about how he threatened her life. He threatened to execute her in detail. This is America. Let's knock on doors to get people with those Trump flags to just talk reasonably to them. You know the ones that are safe to talk to. The Trump freak show is over after Tuesday. I love it. The Cheneys will act. Hey, Damon. Yeah. Can you imagine being Dick Cheney? As much as we hated Dick Cheney, this is a different time that we're in. Just not speaking about him starting the war. Just in reference to this. Do you think that he is going to let that go? That Donald Trump threatened his daughter's life? Yeah, mess around and find out, right? Liz filed a complaint and took on. Okay, is that where that interview was? And was he talking to Tucker? Everything's kind of blending together in my head. Was he talking to Tucker Carlson? Yeah. these are not like cards to be taken lightly. Oh no, Dick Cheney's around. He endorsed Kamala Harris. Come on, man, I tried to keep up. I know it's not easy. It was in Tucson. Okay, and then someone saying he was in Arizona. Anyway. Was he? Yeah, and Dick Cheney had open heart surgery, but you know, people have, it's like nothing nowadays. It's like getting your tonsils out. I mean, I'm exaggerating. So, pardon me for a sec. Thank you for your consideration, Warren. Do we really think that Dick Cheney is? I mean, these cards are intense. What are the Cheneys gonna do? They're gonna end Trump's career. They have Liz, you know what we saw at the January 6th committee hearings, what we saw psychically just scratched the surface. Just scratched the surface. Oh, Dick Cheney had a heart replacement. Yeah, it's a little more intense than open heart surgery to unblock arteries. They have the goods on him. They have the goods on the loser. This feels very rich with information about what the Cheneys are going to do about Trump threatening Liz Cheney's. But I wasn't making light of open heart surgery. Paula, hello? No, I was not. God, no. Come on, everybody, bring it. My dad had open heart surgery when he was 86. He's 90 now. Everybody. Nobody's making fun of anybody here. I don't allow that. Well, the wrenches don't allow it. Thank you to all the members and thank you to all the wielders of the wrench. Much appreciated. We don't make fun of anybody here. No way. This is a loving family. Can I ask the pendulum what the Cheneys may do? That's more a question for the cards. The pendulum is for yes or no. Hang on. Let's do a group hug. I would like for our group hug to be for a few things. And you can have it be for whatever you want. Yeah, we make fun of Warren. But Warren knows it. We're just kidding. Oh, we have a dad joke. Hang on. When does December come before November in the dictionary? Oh, that's a third grade joke. But I would like our group hug to be, of course, to lift up Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, to lift them up very high, high, high. And Cheryl's mom, who's in the ICU. You guys are so loving. It's so awesome. How about the group hug sending energy for the Cheneys to take Trump down out of being a danger to us? Michael, thank you. Thank you for your donation. I just had to pay my rent today. It's a big chunk of change. So, Warren, I want to say about where you're saying a group hug about how this country is becoming reunited. I just want to say about that, we are. And I know that it might be hard to see because if you watch the news, you're not going to see it. We are becoming more united. And I want to mention this. On my short trip back on the train from Salem to Beverly, which is where I pick up my car, there was a Latino man, and he was standing, and I was standing, And he thought maybe I was standing just in case he wanted to sit and the chair was open. And he just kind of motioned to me, go ahead and sit down in the chair. And it was just this kind gesture. I think that it's making people kinder. Do you remember after 9/11, if you remember 9/11, do you remember after 9/11, because we were all going through this collective trauma, and make no doubt about it, we are in a collective trauma for the past 9 years. There's a small percentage of people in this country that are just gone in the cult mind. But when we were really going through it, all the times we've been really going through it, we have come together more united and more kind to one another and more compassionate and more caring. And that's why I mentioned seeing people dressed up, having fun last night, dancing in the streets. That's a love fest. January 6th was not a love fest. As if to add emphasis. The hate rally at Madison Square Garden was not a love. I mean, we know this, right? So a group hug that the Cheneys do something about Trump and that we lift up Kamala and Tim Walz to the maximum heights of winning. And for anybody who's suffering and is worried about their loved one's health. Group hug. All right. And that people get out and do the work this weekend. Okay. Three cards up just about. Read Thomas's better dad joke. I'm reading cards, so you can read the joke. It lifts us up. About the loser's fate. People hold doors for each other, say have a good day. Don't let yourself be swayed by the negativity. There's more love rising up now that we're in these times. Think about Kamala Harris at the Ellipse. I heard 100,000 people. Thank you, Ken. How's it going? Good to see you here. Appreciate it. You notice how angry the MAGA people are all the time. I was mentioning in the past that I was listening to Stephen Hassan talking about a person who was like a domestic terrorist, and he was involved in a hate group for a long time. And one day, Steve Hassan tells a story about this guy who was all about that, all about, domestic terrorism and all about that. And one day he just decided he was going to not do that anymore. And Steve Hassan asked him why, what made him come to that decision. And the guy said, I just got tired of hating. It's more fun to love. So I'm going to pull 3 cards about Trump himself, the garbage man. The big word Trump, the big name Trump on the garbage dumpster. I'm telling you, someday we're going to look back and we're going to say, we will laugh. I promise you, we will crack up when it's safe. So how's Trump doing? 4 of Swords, absolutely exhausted. He's absolutely exhausted. He is exhausted. When he was going for the door of the garbage truck, and he went and he staggered, like he looked like he had had too much to drink. When that happened, I felt like he's that exhausted. Let's ask the pendulum. And I also have gotten before that he's had a stroke or 2, maybe more. But with that, that losing his balance as he was walking up to the door of the truck, the garbage truck, was that exhaustion? I felt like it was exhaustion. He really stumbled. Now, it doesn't mean that he's not weakened in some way by other factors. But I am seeing Rita Morano endorsed the Democratic candidate. Oh, good. He's exhausted. This is the card of exhaustion. He's highly emotional. Trump's emotions are engulfing him. If you've ever had the experience of being maybe in grief, maybe mourning, maybe, something terrible happened, if you've ever been in the state of mind, and we all have because we're all human and things happen, where, oh my gosh, I'm overwhelmed with emotion, I can't function. That's where Trump is. I think we have to read this dad joke. A man walked into his house and was delighted when he discovered that someone had stolen all of the what? The lamps, this is what I get for not putting my glasses on. I gotta think about that one. I think my head's too full. And that's a turning point in terms of how people are viewing Trump in terms of his competence. Oh, delighted. Thank you. Thank you. I get it now. Every once in a while I just don't get the joke, but it's okay. You guys get it. As much as I make an effort to make my shows shorter, and I never succeed at that, we might go a little bit longer than an hour tonight because it is the last Friday before. It sounds so. It's the last Friday before Election Day. I haven't voted yet. I think it's going to end up being voting day, which is fine. That's usually when I vote anyway. Maria didn't get the joke either. Delighted. I got to tell you what happened at the Witches' Circle. You need me? I'm hoping I can get back to my life eventually. I think we all feel that way. You hate what? You hate short? I don't understand what you're saying, Debbie. So last night I felt like I wanted to attend the Witches' Circle. I knew that it was going on. The witches cast a circle because the veils between the worlds are thinnest on Halloween. We call it Samhain, Samhain. The Celts spell words that you can't sound them out, so it's Samhain. So they cast the circle, and I felt like I really wanted to be there. There were a lot of people there, big giant circle. I did live stream it. It's a little bumpy, but it's worth watching that if you get a chance. It's about 45 minutes. I live streamed it. I didn't say it was going to be a short night tonight. What are you talking about? They cast the circle, and what they were talking about was all the people, all the females that were persecuted for being females and being accused. Yes, it's on my page. It's under the lives. That were being accused of witchcraft. Not just in Salem. Salem was like kind of towards the end of it. But in Europe, they were executing women that they accused of being witches. So it was very powerful. Some of the people in the Witches' Circle, I recognize them because I've been in this area a long time, and I think I worked with her before, that kind of thing. So anyway, guess who was in the circle? Which kind of confirmed what I had been sensing all along, was that the witches, the Wiccans, are working energetically with the etheric to make sure the evil doesn't take hold. So do you want to mention, whoever watched it, tell everyone who was there. Stormy Daniels was there. And at first they were saying Stormy Daniels is here and we're going to give her an award for her courage of speaking out and using her voice and for all that she's been through. And I went, aha, that's it. Because I knew there was something going on. When I saw Stormy Daniels on Rachel Maddow for that long interview, I'm like, she feels like a sister to me. And so she spoke to the circle, people in the circle. All the while we're raising the, because that's what you do in a Wiccan circle. You raise the energy. Yeah, she was there. Amanda, you're close by. You could have gone. And that shifted the energy. Yes, she's a witch. She's been a witch since she was a little girl. A Wiccan. And there was somebody in the chat last night that didn't understand what, this was all about. And I want to just take this opportunity. I'll dive back into answering the question in a sec. But I want you all to understand. Yes, she's really close friends with the Lori Cabot's friend that took over the Crowhaven Corner. Lori Cabot is the official witch of Salem. It made sense to me. So I felt really reassured that they're working on it. And we're working on it. And energetically, I think a lot of things that have happened in our democracy cannot be explained by mere mortals. I couldn't get a picture with her because by the time there were a bunch of people that wanted to get a picture with her, but I don't know if somebody said something or whatever, but the police escorted her out at a certain point. So I think she just didn't want to go too overboard with the photographs. Please hit the thumbs up while you're here to help me in some way that I haven't really figured out. So check that out. Even though it's a little bumpy, you need to watch it because you'll get a, Wildflower Wind is saying she needs to put a spell on Trump. Don't you get it? That's what I was just saying? Let me back up. I don't think I'm being clear. I must be being foggy or something. I mean, I apologize if I'm not being clear. They are doing a spell. I've known it all along. Like they did a spell when the Red Sox hadn't won the World Series in 100 years. Finally, they reversed the curse. Sometimes it takes a little while. I'm going to pull 3 cards about that. But actually, I'm going to use different cards because those are the nefarious people cards. Do you guys understand what I'm saying? There's energy work being done. See my Harry Potter scarf? You weren't listening? Oh well, at least you admit it. I won't take it personally. It's fine. I'm used to people not listening to me. I'm just kidding. In my life in general. I just keep going. 3 cards about how that's doing. Don't do black magic, just do magic. The Wiccan creed is if no harm will be done, so mote it be, right? So I'm pulling 3 cards on the witches doing a spell to protect the women and empower the women. And the funny thing is about this, I just want you to know, speaking of people not understanding what Wicca is, there was a big banner somebody was going around the entire circle on the outer circumference offering free exorcisms. I'm serious. I actually met them. Are the witches' spells working? Yeah, I have the Justice card. Are the witches' spells working? Oh, thank you. You like these glasses? They're bifocals. They're very hard to see out of. I gotta straighten out the eye thing. 10 of Pentacles. Oh yeah. Oh, they've been doing some magic for a while now, the witches, and they're gonna take the Fool down, energetically. It's chipping away at his energy. It's working. What are you saying that's horrible? What's horrible? Michael, what are you saying that's horrible? You like Phoebe, the nice witch in pink? Oh, you were watching. Yeah, and I need to reach out to that woman. What did her sign say? White witches for White Witches for Kamala. She had the big pink sign, and I reach out to her because I could probably just go pick one up. So Mo to be, yes. If you want to read a good book about Wicca, I'm going to tell you right now, the name of it is The Power of the Witch. And that was written by Lori Cabot, the official witch of Salem, who is probably about 92 years old now. We don't see much of her. Okay, listening with bated breath. Okay. I got it. Did you see the Justice card? Yeah, I know. We're hearing horror stories. Michael's putting up there another horror story. Women are dying from these abortion bans. Yeah, we can't. And this is the thing that's going to push us over the top. Cheryl's saying she loved the Pink Witch. Yeah, she was really cute. It was inspiring. Yes, Charlie Sage, I did see you. It's really, really hard to live stream something that's that way with your phone. So, those of you who watched, I'm sorry about all the bumpiness, but it's the energy that makes a difference. Okay, I'm going to pull 3 cards. Come back. I'm going to pull 3 cards about these abortion bans and what I'm using a different deck. I'm going to ask about what effect that these abortion bans will have on this election. The war on women has got to stop, that's for sure. That's why I was so glad that I was there last night, and I was really glad the witches were there and that Stormy was there. Okay. I'm asking about the effect of the abortion bans on the election. It's the women's courage. This is the Osho deck. So women's courage. And they're having a women's march tomorrow, by the way. The women's courage, and I call that creativity. They've created something to make a difference. An 18-year-old girl in Texas died too. Somebody just said a 13-year-old girl just died. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Your dad called you a white witch after you gave him a healing? That's a compliment. So the abortion bans effect on the election. Now this card compromise means this is like, I think the abortion bans are gonna start being taken down. Yeah. Yeah, it's everything in terms of the. Oh, Michael's saying you think you got the age wrong, so you're not talking about 2 different girls. If you do go knocking on doors of people that support Trump, you got to bring this up. That girls are dying. That women, and it's a large amount of women that are victims of rape are being forced to have their rapist babies. We need to be talking about this stuff. I'm going to pull 3 cards from this deck about Kamala. Power Woman. Power Women Kamala. About her. And Waltz. About this ticket. There's no word. Maria's saying it's tragic that women are dying. It's unforgivable that women are dying. It's like, this is like when you think about the Taliban putting women in prison for not having their heads covered. This is, I can't even talk about it. Forget the age, a life was lost. Yeah. How Kamala's doing. Isn't it interesting that I got the creator for her? We're creating a new energy because I just got the creativity card for the women and the effect of the women standing up against these abortion bans. It's a war against women, yeah. So the creator, but the men are fighting back with the women. It's a nightmare that needs to end, absolutely. This is the Kamala energy. Now the nothingness card means right now nothing can be said because we haven't had the election yet. This is a Kamala card. This is a very positive card because it means we are creating the reality that we need to have happen. We're creating it. We're recreating the American dream. So Kamala is giving us a vision for the future. We're turning the page. We're not turning back. We're creating it. I mean, women are the ones that bring life into the world. We are, creators in that aspect. Roberta. Come on. Can you lift up the energy, Roberta, please? Please, pretty please. Thank you. Thank you for your donation, Jude. Much appreciated. Listen to the conversation that I have with Irish Granny, Roberta, if you can go to Irish Granny Tarot. Because I kind of spoke to that today. There will be no violence. So as far as Kamala goes, yes, we're creating this reality. A new American dream. A new day for the American dream. Now, I don't mean to sound all Pollyanna, but we've won this. Okay? And I don't mean to sound all Pollyanna, but we're not going to have violence. And I'm going to put that out there. I'm just going to put that out there. Because why not? All right? It's really important that we know the power of our thoughts together. It's all right, Roberta. No hard feelings at all. It takes discipline because we're programmed by the media to expect the worst and expect attacks and expect violence, and we will do what we need to do. No. She's not a troll. I know, Roberta. But we have to hold the space, and I'm not preaching. Well, I have a church, so it probably sounds like it, but to be responsible with the way that we're thinking and know that what we think contributes to the reality that happens. That's why I pulled the dream card. Okay, I'm going to pull 3 cards. Let's do this. Let's look at 3 different states. So you can throw up the name of a state. I'll just go with the first come, first serve to see if the Democrat will win that state. I'm not going to entertain any ideas, and I'm going to call it out if somebody mentions violence. If anybody mentions, oh no, there's going to be violence in the chat, I'm going to call it out. That's all. I love you guys. So Pennsylvania, and I first see Pennsylvania. What's going to happen? This administration is ready for whatever may come. So I'm going to pull 3 cards about Pennsylvania. So I see Pennsylvania, I see Montana, and Arizona. I said 3. We'll go with those for now. Pennsylvania, what can we expect? Integration. I think the message is getting through to people in Pennsylvania that we need to save our democracy. I think that some of the people, this is interesting, as far as Pennsylvania, some people feel guilty that they have been on the wrong side of history. I feel like over the weekend, Pennsylvania is going to lean right into the blue. Let's ask the pendulum. Is Pennsylvania going to go for Harris? I get a yes on that. Yep, I get a yes on that. It's a pretty strong yes. Michael said he asked the pendulum about post-election violence, and you got a no also. Let's remember this too. Do you remember how everyone was so worried in 2022, the midterms, and everyone's like, oh no, there's going to be violence, there's going to be this, there's going to be that. I think we have PTSD, I know we do, from January 6th because it caught us so off guard, right? But now we know. And in the midterms, I remember people being so freaked out, and there were a couple incidences in Arizona where there were people in ski masks with assault rifles outside the polling area, and they intimidated people, but we were praying and nothing terrible happened. Please hit the thumbs up while you're here and help me out. So Pennsylvania looks like it's going for Kamala. Okay, and I said Arizona, right? And I've told you guys before, as soon as I hear somebody on a YouTube or a podcast or whatever on the news, if they say, if Trump wins, this is going to happen, turn it off. I just turn it off. Arizona. Okay. Arizona. Carrie Lake is popping into my head and she's done. Arizona, but we're asking about the presidential race. Okay, Arizona, it's going to look first like we're fighting for a democracy in Arizona. I keep getting the compromise card, which I'm really seeing this as people are like, no, we want democracy. Carrie Lake is a fright. I'm not worried about Carrie Lake. She's such a fake. Oh, I said I was only going to take 3. Warren, only 3 states, or I'll be here all night. So we have, do we say Montana, Arizona, we just did Pennsylvania. Yeah, it's fine. If the military will be standing by just in case. Let me tell you something. Last night, with tens of thousands of people walking the streets of Salem, any kind of riffraff, anything could have happened. And I want to really drive home this point for everybody here. There was no violence. None. 0. Zip. Which is kind of miraculous. The Salem police were, every time I walked by a group of Salem police officers, they were smiling and laughing and talking to people. It's not impossible. It's not impossible for us to not have violence. All right? Can I get a witness? I am preaching. I admit it. Church of Spirituality meets every single Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time live, and I'm back on this channel with that. Love is more fun, that's for sure. Right? That's what the guy I was talking about earlier, the Stephen Hassan, the author of The Cult of Trump, he said that about a guy he met who was in a hate group. Got tired of the hate. Love is more fun. Arizona, there's a breakthrough in Arizona. Yes, violence is not a fact of life, okay? Arizona has a breakthrough because they fought for the breakthrough, and people decide they want democracy. All right? That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Now, the other was Montana. Montana, right? I picked the first 3 that came up. Am I getting that right, or was it white? No, it was Montana. Michael's been going to fall festivals in Florida, and everyone's having fun and being kind. That's growing. Let's ask the pendulum. Is the kindness growing in the United States? That is a strong yes. Look at how much kindness we generate here. I mean, I know I go off once in a while, but that's kind of my brand. Right? I am telling you, there were all kinds of opportunities late at night. People are drinking and they're in costume. It's like not one incident. Tens of thousands of people. Don't tell me miracles can't happen. Okay, Montana. Is Damon cracking you up? He's like that. Montana. Okay, Montana looks a little tough. It doesn't look, now it's interesting because I'm seeing challenges in these traditionally red states. It looks like people are really stuck in their ways in Montana in general. But I do see a thunderbolt. So I'm seeing, is Montana going to be one of those states that just kind of has like the hanging chad thing? No. What is this? Are the Republicans going to put out a big effort to cheat in Montana? Is that what I'm getting? Not really. I'm trying to figure out what I'm picking up. If I do more than 3 states, we'll be here all night. And you guys don't want that, right? Okay. So Montana looks like, this is interesting. The thunderbolt breaks up the old conditioning is what I'm kind of seeing. I'm just not clear about whether they go for Harris completely. They've been the outsiders. They're conditioned to go to vote Republican, but this thunderbolt is making me think that they won't. I love you too. See how much love we generate here? That goes a long way. Move a rubber tree plant? I don't know what that means, Teresa. Don't forget I have tea leaves. I kind of forgot the other night. Let's take a quick break so I can show you some pictures. And maybe you'll come to Salem. Okay. This was the scariest group of people in costume that I saw. This is a bunch of people walking. There's a bunch of people walking. You can see the costumes. There's a beautiful area here where, you know, I was doing readings. There's some better ones. Hang on. This is good. People dancing in the streets. Oh, thanks for the compliments. So this is just, you know, people dancing. It's not very long. There's the American flag there. Everybody's dressed up. And I mean, most people, I would say at least half the people are dressed up. There's Tigger. It's like a parade. Right, so that's in front of, remember I did a PNN right next door to that. That's Crowhaven Corner, the witch store. And Salem Remember Salem is there. That's where I did the ghost tour from. You saw the part where the handmaid scared me? So that's Salem. See the old main, there's a pub there. That's where I did the PNN, and then across the street was the haunted house that I took the picture of. That's all on my community page. Where there was a ghoulish, really scary looking face in the window. I took a picture. Anyway, it was great. It was great. I'll post a couple more things too from that. Okay, we have tea leaves. But what I'm going to do, since we're so close to the election, is I'm going to ask you guys if you really need for me to read on something. The psychic store is open. Oh yeah, I'm glad you enjoy it. I know I've been going on about Salem, but I know you guys, most of you will never go, right? It was such a beautiful night. It was gorgeous. And it really does look like Hocus Pocus. So tonight or over the weekend, I'm going to rewatch. Do you guys remember The Witches of Eastwick? Do you remember that movie? With Cher and, was it Susan Sarandon and Michelle Pfeiffer? Do I have them right? I'm going to watch The Witches of Eastwick. Does anybody want to watch that this weekend? Jack Nicholson plays the devil. Where's my pointer? Hang on. Yeah. Oh, pointer. Hang on. Pointer. Yeah. So, only if I make manicotti. Not tonight. Let's look at the tea leaves. The other night, I'm sorry, I actually didn't post. I was going to post the tea leaves on my community page because we ran out of time. But you know, every time I've read the tea leaves recently, am I enjoying the ghost stories? Yes, I am, Darren. Great ghost stories. Darren sent me a great couple of books about ghost haunted places in Maryland and DC. Excellent. And I have one about New England ghost stories too. Lately, a lot has been showing up in the female and the feminine, that part of the cup. So, I see there's a dog here, and the dog represents loyalty, and the dog represents, and I did read the tea leaves the other night. When I ran out of time, it was Monday night. I ran out of time to show you, but there was a dog in the tea leaves then too, and that means hard work. That means loyalty and hard work. You see a big scarecrow? That might be a carryover from what I just showed you. Dad joke. If at first you don't succeed, then skydiving definitely isn't for you. I like it. I like it. So I do see a dog there. So people will be working like dogs. I see there's like that looks like a human figure. That looks like somebody running. See that? Somebody running with the dog. So people are they're rushing. Then I see an angel and there's a heart here. There's a lot of energy coming to help the females. There's a lot of energy just charging in to help the females. I kind of see a witch on a broom. That's appropriate. And that's a lightning bolt. I feel... Oh, The Craft is a good movie too. Yeah, I just haven't watched The Witches of Eastwick in decades, so I'm gonna watch that one over the weekend. I'll find it. All signs are pointing to this weekend is going to be gangbusters. We are going to see... I Married a Witch is another good movie. I don't know that one. We are going to see... Thank you, Maria, for the testimonial. We're going to see massive energy over the weekend. So, if you can, let people know what you're going to be doing to take action over the weekend. On landslide, it's going to be gangbusters. It's going to be a BFD. We are going to kick his ass to Timbuk 3. Because we have to. We have to save this country from a fascist, crazed dictator who is literally calling for our assassination. It's not going to happen, but this has forced us to come together, to unite. None of you would know me, you wouldn't know each other, even though it's a virtual thing. So many groups of people have come together, you cannot underestimate that. That is a big, huge deal. Is prayer action? Well, prayer is energy action, Amanda. Yeah. I'm asking for people that can to go knock on doors, to make phone calls, to do everything that you can. All right? Join us for Church of Spirituality every Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Church of Spirituality makes your life better. It's a labor of love. I do need donations. Like I said, I just had to pay my rent today. The rent where I live is extremely high. When you book a reading, it's a win-win. I have 30 years of experience doing this work. So please know that when you support me, I support you. It goes both ways. We're all in this together. And I'm also offering a short discounted reading for new clients. So check it out. My website has a brand new look. It's psychic.annetteDion.com. I also do virtual parties if you want to have a party. In person if you're local. All right. I love you all. Be good to one another. Believe in the love. Love wins. Don't forget. Power to the people. All right. What's the problem with two witches? You never know which is which. We ended on a dad joke. Namaste. Love you guys. Take care.